Hey everybody, it's me, Max Farrell from DexFxMarkets.com. In this segment, we're going to talk about our TNT 1-hour signals. Now, in the previous video, we talked about how to go into Nadex and purchase on that side, utilizing the signals just from the face value of the signals themselves. Now, a couple factors, okay? This is all about numbers. So the more that you're able to buy, without great success, if they're not getting filled, there's a whole bunch of different variables that'll be taken into consideration as we move forward through our signal and trading life. Okay, now the best thing to do is to understand is to always trade with the mentality that don't risk more than you can lose. Okay, this isn't about just putting bread on your table. This is also making sure that no bread's taken off of your table. Now, I will guarantee you one thing. You are going to lose. You are going to lose trades. But what I want to be able to do is show you that the odds of losing can be reduced with a little bit of preparation. Now, the least amount of preparation that you would have to do is simply just come and click news. That's the first thing you should do on every base day of trading, right? If you're going to be trading the 11 o'clock expiries, just come down and look to see if there's any major 3 bull news happening at the 3 o'clock or 11 o'clock hour. And at this point, there isn't. Okay. So we verified that. So that's about the least amount of work that you can do for verification of a good trading time. The other is look at the success rate of each one of the pairs that are fired off. Like for the USDCHF, you can simply come down into the DPC, which is the data processing center, and look at what the local success rate is. You can look at lifetime if you want, but I usually like to look for a 1 hour on the week side, the last 7 days. That's what I really look at. And it's sitting at about 85. Is it the best one out of the lot? No, there's a couple 100%ers, some 94s. If I had this to choose over, say, a 94%, like a EURUSD, and I was tight on money, yeah, I probably wouldn't trade it as much as I would the EURUSD. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's one strategy to be able to use on which ones to get first. If they all come out at the same time like this, which one would you do first? USDCHF, USDJPY, or EURUSD? Well, let's have a look at the success rate over the last 100, and that's what this win percentage is here. So I'm going to look at the USDCHF is sitting at 87% over the last 100 trades. The USDJPY, you just have to float down, is sitting at 86, and the EURUSD is sitting at, the last one is 84. So that puts the USDCHF sitting at 87%, the best opportunity for me to be able to trade. That is if I have a limited amount of balance that I can't put the money on the reserve for. Maybe I only want to make one trade at this point out of these 3. That's what I would do. Now, the next thing that you can do to kind of help your process is that if you have the time, if you have the knowledge, is to have a look at our charts. Our charts are based from our friends over at TradingView. Now, these charts have a few details on them that you may not be used to. First off, it's on a 5-minute chart itself, 5-minute time frame. And we do this because the process of seeing how a market looks at, you have to go back a certain amount of bars. And we like this because it gives us about 12 bars to look back at for the hour. Now, the TNT strategy, the original TNT strategy, was to wait for a trend, wait for some negation, and then go with a pullback from that process. But one of the things that we found with that was that there was far few signals, and when they would come out, the movement has already moved on pretty far. But there was also high consistency rate, which was the success rate, which was great, but there was just not a lot of trades coming over. Let's take the USDCHF, which is the highest rate success one out of the 3, and have a look at the chart. Simply come over to the left and come down and click the USDCHF. So bring up your chart here. And again, brought to you by our friends over at TradingView. Now, there's some lines on this chart and some bars that you can kind of see and some arrows. The lines that you see right here, these are called support and resistance lines. Now, this is proprietary to our network. It's our Dex MDMSR. That stands for our support and resistance. And this is a very good model to be able to use. There's also a simple moving average. And the arrows are from our movement system that we refer to for our dailies and our strategy process of market movement. So these arrows have a good significance to you. Now, Our TNT strategy from originally was wait for a trend, wait for the trend to happen, wait for some pullback. But even in this case, we weren't getting a lot of movement. We weren't getting a lot of trades. The glycerin is a strategy that comes off of the TNT. I know it's nitroglycerins within TNT. When it sweats, it comes out. So it's a little bit more powerful, a little bit more volatile, but it has great opportunity. What this means is that what we look for is that the SMA should be in a higher rate the last 5 bars. So what we do is we wait for an arrow to come out. We go back 5 bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we look at the SMA. Is the SMA going up or going down? If it's going up and the arrow's up, then it's a buy trade. Just like here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. SMA's up. We also look at to make sure another rule is that the arrow is above, or the price for the arrow is above the SMA. Now, just a word of warning. The actual arrow itself, when you're looking at back testing, didn't fire on this arrow or on this. It fired on this candle, but it started. It shows up as soon as the previous candle closes. So wherever that closed at, if it's a buy candle, it would be up here. If it was a sell candle, it would be down below. So at the top, that's the price that it started at. So keep that in mind when you're making these trades. Like this particular sell or buy candle or buy arrow happened all the way up here. So at 99.38. Okay, so keep that in mind as you're trading, because this will help give you the levels. You see pullback and that kind of stuff. Now, what we do is that once we get the arrow and it meets all the rules, SMA has to be pointing up, arrow and price has to be above the SMA. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, now once it meets that, where do we put our where does this number come from? Where does the close price come from? What we call the open price. Where does the open price come from? Well, that comes from on the actual SMA, which comes all the way back down here. It comes back 1 bar from where the arrow is on, so this bar, and it comes all the way back down, and it takes that particular price wherever the SMA is at, 99.11. Now, because our charts are 2 pips lower than what's on the signal, 99.13. You see, because we have to take into consideration what we refer to on Nadex as the indicative price. So we take that in consideration for you. And then you just simply take the next level up or down, depending on if there is a statement on for that price. Now, in more videos to come, we'll show you more advanced ways to be able to trade this. But in this particular case, I would trade the SMA. Now, could you also trade from the support and resistance area? And from other dynamic support and resistance? I would try to trade from this one, which is pretty good. Now, if you see 2 lines, I try to either split the middle or go with the one that's red. If the top one's red, go with it. If the bottom one red, go with it. If they're both green, go in the middle. If they're both red, go in the middle. Okay? But always try to stay on the outside of that level to keep yourself safe. Okay? So in this case, this would be 99.13. Now, remember, on the chart, you have to add 2 pips, so 99.15. Let's go over to Nadex and see if there's a possibility for 99.15 in their system. 99.14. Now, remember, because we're on a buy, we want to be able to come down 1, so that would be that one. Now, I already have a one on for 99.10. Okay, so I've improved by 5 pips. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch that over and do 75 and hit place order. But I'm then going to go take this one off and delete reminder, just like that. Now what I did is I just came over and clicked the actual body and hit delete reminder. All right, that's how I adjust my signals, by looking at the chart. Let's go look at one more. We'll look at the EURUSD on the sell side, 103.36. Come back up, click the EURUSD. Now, sometimes you're going to get a signal that fires off here on the sell, but maybe not on the chart. And that's okay. even though that there's one all the way back here. That's really okay because the charts aren't synced. This is a dual-pronged system to be able to help navigate the movement of the market. The charts may be a little bit, may have less arrows than the actual signals, but the system still works the same. So in this particular case, we would have come out at this bar right here at the 10 o'clock bar, and we could still use the market values. See, the price is below because it's a sell, and there is the support and resistance area right there. Now, if we scroll out some, there's no real other movement except all the way back over here, which really doesn't work well with our system. So what we want to do is come up to 1029. So, and again, remember, if it's two greens, shoot right for the middle. So that's 1030, 1029, real close to 1030 for a sell. So let's go back over to Nadex and see if there's one available there for the 1030. Now, we originally got in for 1038, so we could improve our level just a little bit. So we're going to come up to EURUSD, come to the 11 o'clock. We're going to look at the 1030, and there's one exactly at 1030. So I could put that one on. So I'm going to put one, and I'm going to do 70. Nope. I'm going to do 25. And hit place order. Hit close. Now I'm going to close out my 1038 because that's boom, just like that. Now remember, if you change the process, that you change and you go with this higher end, or you get closer into a support and resistance area, you're no longer really revolving around this success rate. So keep that in mind, right? You don't have to, you can't hold this in regard that, okay, I just upgraded my EURUSD, which was at 84%, and it lost, you know, or if I only hadn't done that. You really have to take in consideration that the more that you push it, the more risk there is. In future videos, we'll talk about other systems called the nitroglycerin, which are taking a lot more trades, but you're going to have a lot more success. Okay, I'm Max Farrell. This is DexFXMarkets.com. I'll see you next time, and as always, trade well.